Some of the key figures are different from the team that played for the national championship last April. Still, Michigan is a title team. Chance to win the outright Big Ten title and celebrate in Champaign tonight. We welcome you to the Infinity College Basketball Tip-Off, starting the final week of the Big Ten as Michigan takes on Illinois in front of a sellout crowd here at the State Farm Center, used to known as Assembly Hall, in Champaign. Both of these teams have won 3 in a row with a win tonight. Michigan wins the outright Big Ten title for the first time in 28 years. Meantime, Illinois on a bit of a roll, having won 3 in a row. Good evening, everyone. Mike Tirico, Dan Dockich, Allison Williams joins us momentarily. Dan, how in the world is Michigan without the backcourt and the big guy, Mitch McGary, off of last year's team, gotten to the top this year?
Well, they're very efficient offensively, Mike. John Beilein has always been a master at putting players in the right positions, and quite frankly, people have improved. I mean, this time last year, Karis LeVert was a 2-point-a-game scorer. Now Karis LeVert's a guy that we can talk about maybe as a first-team All-Big Ten player. And Nick Stauskas, I believe, is the player of the year. 11 points a game last year, over 17 this year, and he's a guy that shows up in big moments. And let's not forget, Mitch McGary goes down. All right, now you're talking about a guy that's a first-round draft choice, maybe a top 10 draft choice, depending on who you ask. Well, all Jordan Morgan and John Horford have done is figure out their roles. Defend, rebound, put yourself in position to finish around the rim, and they've done a great job of it.
And they're in position to win the conference title here tonight. The assistant coaches motivating Michigan in the locker room before the game.
Here's the deal. You want it outright? Sir. Finish the job. Finish it tonight. We are Michigan. We value Wolverine excellence. And tonight the job is one mission: beat Illinois. Here we go.
But the only way we're gonna get that done today is you got to stick together. And if you stick together, we will stand together and sing the victors after the game. Let's go to work.
Will not be easy on senior night here in Champaign. This has been the Infinity Tip-Off. Let's take a look at how our coaches have fun with fundraising in the Infinity Coaches Charity Challenge.
It frees up the backside.
Yeah, but what happens if they switch right here?
I don't think they'll switch right there, because if they do, what we're going to do is we're going to look to back door.
Johnny, it's not going to work because you're not going to be able to throw the pass.
Are you kidding me? You guys haven't sold a single bar? Listen, don't beat yourselves up. I know what it's like to lose.
Like when you got taken for 81 points?
Yeah. And when you wore the tomato pinstripe suit to the draft? That was pretty bad.
Oh, remember the time?
Okay. The point is, you got to believe in yourself, like I believe in me. Jalen Rose. Look, this isn't just a candy bar. This is a chance to raise the bar. So I ask, are we ready to sell some clusters?
Yeah, let's go.
Buy my caramel clusters right here, right now.
NCAA coaches, great at coaching, not so great at fundraising. To help your favorite coaches raise money for charity, they need your votes. Go to ESPN.com/infinity to vote now.
That's good chocolate.
3 in a row, including a win in East Lansing over Michigan State this past weekend. What about the one-on-one, Mr. Dockich?
Well, defense rules the day for Illinois. Offense for Michigan. You see what Michigan's doing shooting the basketball. Patient, they'll move it around, a lot of jump shots, but Illinois has been sensational. You can't get to 50, or at least the last 4 games out. Nobody's gotten to 50 against Illinois. They've been able to guard their own, Mike.
Here are the lineups, Dan. You've got the brackets of freshman and senior, Walton, and Jordan Morgan playing his last Big Ten road game with the 3 scoring sophomores, Stauskas, LeVert, and Robinson. On the Illinois side, the addition of the 2 freshmen, Kendrick Nunn, the back-to-back Big Ten freshman of the week, and Malcolm Hill have joined the 3 juniors to get this thing going for John Gross in his 2nd year here at Illinois. The Orange Crush, their student section, cranked and ready to go. A lot of amazing blue followers watching all across the country, including NBA rookie Trey Burke. Now with the Utah Jazz, go get that Big Ten outright championship. Go blue. We'll see if Michigan can do something that the Wolverines haven't done in 28 8 years, since 1986.
Hey, Mike, how about the Orange Crush? They do calisthenics en masse. Little arm stretching, some jumping jacks. Pretty impressive. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Here's Robinson. Last Wednesday, game-winning layup at Purdue, and he gets the first points of this one on a drive.
Boy, that's a heck of a drive by Robinson. Iki, who's been playing Egwu, excuse me, who's been playing very well. Played terrific defense, didn't need any help. Robinson just too good right there.
This is Kendrick Nunn, one of those freshmen, passed it to Nana Egwu at the top. Tracy Abrams, the junior, not really a point guard, although that's the role he plays on this team, and he's done it pretty well.
Yeah, he's come so far, and he's one of my favorite players. He has a great countenance about it. He just plays.
Egwu took his time, got inside, and gets the field goal. Nana Egwu, the junior, went to high school in Chicago at St. Ignatius. 6.6 boards within the conference this year. Sophomore Stauskas. Robinson. Missed the three. On the board is Egwu. Good rebounding team, this Illinois group, especially in this stretch of unbelievable defense that Dan talked about in the last 4 games. 3 on the way for Rayvonte Rice. Transfer from Drake missed it. Karis LeVert brings it back. Michigan always seems organized and always well spaced on this offensive end.
Yeah, rarely do they ever force anything. Usually they play it through a high post man, Morgan, with a lot of cutting right here, a lot of action off of the ball or off of Morgan when he gets it.
Point guard Derek Walton Jr. knocks down the three, his 20th in Big Ten play this year.
Mike, that was just 2 guys coming together. As we said, get the ball to Morgan, high post. Morgan and Stauskas came together. Stauskas went low, Morgan went high. It was a simple switch. Rare that Illinois would miss that.
Michigan's so good on that. Any ball screens, especially from the top. 3 out of the corner is off the mark by Nunn, and back the other way to LeVert. John Gross telling us the shoot-around today, emphasizing transition defense. So important. Great find by Walton inside to Morgan. 7-2 Michigan.
Well, he emphasized it, but they messed it up right there. Egwu did not talk. He and Hill, nobody spoke. Egwu was lost on who to get, lost sight of Morgan, and a terrific pass by Michigan.
Abrams got space because of the Egwu screen. That 2's off the mark. Here's Michigan pushing again. Nice find inside, 2 in a row by Walton. That time, Morgan couldn't convert, and it's Illinois ball. Now, Ted Valentine made that call. Teddy working the game tonight with Larry Sorrento.
Well, look right here. You're going to see Egwu's in the middle. He's just turning around. And that's a lack of communication. The freshman Malcolm Hill, the first guy back has to be the communicator, has to be the quarterback. And Hill, for whatever the reason, didn't get Egwu into the right spot.
John Gaffney's our 3rd official here tonight. Nunn on the drive. Good lefty finish from Kendrick Nunn, Simeon High School in Chicago, the lefty who was teammates with Duke's super freshman Jabari Parker in his prep days.
That was that pretty, Mike. I mean, he just curled off of a down screen, and you know, rare is it that a freshman understands reading the defense, but Nunn did a great job. Just read it.
Illinois defensively also wants to shut Michigan out of the paint. Stauskas says, that's fine. I'll knock it down from here. A 3 for Stauskas.
Don't watch the ball when Stauskas shoots it. Watch Stauskas. It'll tell you whether the ball's going in or not. He has a look about him going backwards. The minute he releases it, you just know. And then you know when he misses.
And he struts down the court like Eminem. I told my daughter that we went to a Michigan game, watched the game, said, he walks back when he makes a shot like he's Eminem.
He is lacking not to confidence.
Here is Nunn. Morgan tried to draw the contact inside, but knocked down the second field goal for the freshman.
Mike, I love that kid, man. I do. I think he's a superstar waiting to happen. He's got big-time guts, terrific high school coach, unafraid, guards, tries his hardest.
Good work by LeVert. And if you can just draw everything he did from the top, serpentine to the lane, the finish. Free wide open on this side is Nunn for a 3.
Came out of his hand bad, got a roll. Oh, man.
That's like a Maui rim. You know the tournament over in Maui to start the year? Those rims are like sewers. Anything that goes on them goes down. And that three knocked down is off to a very good scoring start.
Mike, we had a rim on our side at Bowling Green we called the glove.
Stauskas again knocked it down from the outside. I mean, they didn't go in on that side?
No, they went in on our home side. It caught them all. It caught them all.
Egwood, who has developed that part of his game, the junior extending out his range.
Yeah, basically a good face-up shooter. Now he's becoming the kind of face-up shooter that you're surprised when he misses. Because you're right, he has really developed that off a pick and pop or off a penetration.
John Gross, the Illinois coach, after his team verbally as they came down the floor. They've given up 48 a game their last 4. Michigan's got 14 already in the first 6 minutes. Better trip here. Shot clock at 5. And Levert deflects right to Walton.
Smart play by Walton. We were on a direct line with Walton. Had he thrown a pass, it would have been intercepted by 2 guys that looked open. What a move.
You mean that end one's going to work better for him?
I think it worked out well.
Michigan hot. All 5 stars have put it in the bucket. Wolverines up 5 early on.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Infinity. Luxury cars that deliver inspired performance. The Quicksilver card from Capital One. Earn 1 point.
Good early start for Michigan, trying to close out the Big Ten outright championship. More on the Wolverines and one of their key players. A good evening to Allison Williams.
Hey there, Mike. Well, you know, John Beilein will tell you that winning the regular season title in the Big Ten is incredibly valued, perhaps more so than in other conferences. And the players I talk to are aware of this, and they are determined to win it outright tonight. Glenn Robinson said it has been their goal since the summer, and he very much remembers last year when Indiana came into Ann Arbor and won the Big Ten regular season title on their home court. He said, I watched them celebrate. I saw the replays on TV, and that picture has stuck in my head since then. In that game, they came within inches of winning a share of the regular season title in the Big Ten. This year, they are in no mood for sharing.
That's right, Allison. People remember that Sunday game. The ball tantalizingly to the Michigan side, staying on the rim and then falling off. It almost like it stopped. It looked around the building and said, nah, you're not going to win it outright.
Yeah, I think we'll give it to Indiana.
Exactly.
You know, Mike, this is a huge deal for Michigan's team, and it should be a huge deal. There are only certain things you get rings for in life, right?
Yeah.
Weddings, marriage, that kind of thing, championships. It's a big deal.
Joseph Bertrand on senior night misses. Iki almost had the rebound, couldn't bring it down. Those are the 2 seniors on this Illinois team. On the turnover, here comes Bertrand. He spent 5 years here in Champaign. Robinson almost blocked it. Walton wanted the charge, and instead it's a field goal for Joe.
That was a great play by Bertrand. I'm telling you, Derek Walton did everything you could do. He told Levert where to go. He set up outside, tried to take a charge, but Bertrand just made a great, not a good, a great play.
Michigan brought John Horford in the game. Stauskas long on the 3. Walton, who had a great double-digit rebounding game with 8 defensive rebounds on a Super Tuesday in Columbus 3 weeks ago. Already, as you see, has 3.
Remember that, Mike? He got to where he was dominating the game against Ohio State. That's the best I've seen him play. He's been terrific all year, but never better than against Ohio State.
This is better defense. Like I told you, Illinois does not want Michigan in the paint, either the penetration or to distribute from there. Late clock, Stauskas fouled on the side by Bertrand. That'll be his first. We remind you about Thursday night. All these games important within the conference. Seeding for your tournament, seeding for the NCAAs. Memphis and Cincinnati start it. And then in the Big Ten in East Lansing, it'll be Iowa against Michigan State. A couple of teams that have looked elite at times this year. We're trying to find that form one more time as we've hit the magic month of March.
Keith Appling, who has been having a great year, is hurt. I mean, no other way to say it. He's just hurting, and he's not himself. He can't shoot. He shoots the ball flat. And you know what? A wrist obviously affects every part of your game.
Karis LeVert, no. Going up to squeeze the rebound is Revante Rice, who pitched it in the corner. Bertrand couldn't squeeze it. Maverick Morgan on the miss. Iki tried to keep it alive for Illinois. Michigan back the other way. Good pace to this game. Bertrand shaken up a bit as Levert knocks down the three. And Bertrand is slowed for a moment.
Mike, you said pace. I'm just going to say flat speed by Derek Walton. Wow, did he get down fast and made a great decision to find Levert in the corner.
It's the under 12 timeout, and we'll take a look at the senior Bertrand. Joseph Bertrand, the senior who was injured, got up and limped off, looking at his right knee. It's a 7-point Michigan lead. Let's talk about the Wolverines' offense against Illinois' defense. Here's Dan.
Mike, this position right here, help side position, is going to go a long way to deciding this game, meaning the ball is over here. My man is opposite. I have to get right here. Why? I have to be able to stop the drive. I have to be able to hit a roll man coming down the lane and take the big guy just for a second so that my defender, my teammate, can get back to his man. Watch this part of the field. Watch this part of the court, excuse me. This part right here in help side is the most important position that a guy can be in on defense in this ball game.
And Dan, it's that man right there. We'll show you what's happened so far as Michigan's gotten off to a very good start offensively in this one. I think I was there in position again trying to shut down the lane, but Stauskas and Michigan shooting well from the outside, 8 of 13, 3 3-pointers, and that's the conundrum that Michigan provides, the best outside shooting team in this league, compared to some of the games Illinois has played recently. Teams struggling from the outside, trying to get inside to get their offense going, and Illinois providing such a presence there, whether it's help side or protecting the rim with Egwu in the middle.
Yeah, you get it help side, it's great, but Michigan does a great job of finding the corner jump shooter. But both of these teams have been fantastic getting into that position. Wow.
Both teams over 50% from the field, as you saw. Rayvonte Rice couldn't finish. Zach Irvin and Spike Albrecht in off the Michigan bench to join John Horford, also a bench player, and the starters Levert and Stauskas for the Wolverines. Horford flashed, but Levert had no chance to get it to him. Good defense by the freshman Maverick Morgan made that tough, but the three knocked down by Irvin again.
That's exactly what we were talking about. Bertrand got into help side, and Horford couldn't get the ball, but Bertrand wasn't able to get out quick enough from help side to get to the shooter. I'm telling you, that position is going to be huge.
Again, largest lead for Michigan. It is at 10. Bertrand did come back in the game, by the way, after dinging that knee. Turnover by Illinois. Irvin out of bounds. Good call. Larry Serrato, the official, saw him on the sideline.
Well, look here. You're going to see Bertrand. He's right here. All right. He's guarding Levert, who's out here on the corner. The action happens. Levert takes away the middle, but now he's got to sprint and get out to the shooter. He doesn't get quite there quick enough. Bertrand had to go from the middle to the shooter. It's a tough spot to play in a high ball screen action of Michigan.
And remember, Bertrand just came out before that last time out with that knee bothering him. Lead is 10. Michigan's looked very comfortable offensively against a team that has locked down their last 4 opponents. Egwu facing on Horford. And turns to shoot.
That was a tough shot, Mike. Horford was not giving ground. Egwu was trying to back him down, but Horford was having none of it.
Zach Irvin.
Ball's coming out of Zach Irvin's hand funny, Mike. It's kind of spinning as he goes into his release. The ball shouldn't spin until you actually shoot it, but he's kind of flipping it in his hand. Yeah.
Remember Brandon Paul from Illinois. He was tweeting about Joseph Bertrand playing his final game here tonight. Rayvonte Rice on the driving hoop. Bertrand's been around for a while, dating back to the Illinois days with Bruce Weber, who was here for 9 years as the head coach before John Gross took over last year. Stauskas corner, triple Stauskas.
Rice didn't give him much room, but Stauskas is feeling it. Even his miss, Stauskas had a miss long. It was a terrific miss. Shot it with great confidence.
Is there such thing? You can have a good miss?
There is. Just don't miss left or right.
Bertrand, no, and it's tipped in. Egwu was there at the basket as he and Levert went up for it. It rolls in, and the lead back to single digits for Michigan. You know, Dan, Spike Albrecht has played well really over the last half dozen games for Michigan. They're seeing more time, and the team always runs very smoothly, very confidently when he's on the floor.
Mike, it's all about trust. He's 32 assists. Listen to this number, as he's probably going to knock one in as we speak.
Such a good shooter, too.
He's 32 assists and not one, not two, 3 turnovers. That's it in the Big Ten. 10-1. 10+1.
That's averaging 15.5 minutes a game in conference play.
Yeah, and people say,
great find by Bertrand. Icky couldn't finish the dunk, and Albrecht leads it back for the other way. Michigan's hit 6 threes tonight. Michigan's hit 7 threes. Irvin with a 3. 32-17. Wolverines on fire. 7 of 10 behind the long line tonight.
Lots of guys talk success, but do they actually get all up in you with 6 essential nutrients? Like niacin. Niacin helps promote skin health. You like skin? I bet you do. Have you ever seen anyone do anything worthwhile without skin? That's a question, but also a fact. And facts are what science is made of. I'm actually giving you a tool, and that tool is the peanut, and the peanut is the symbol of snacking for success.
John Beilein's great on drilling fundamentals. He's a shooting camp for younger kids during the summer. His teams always shoot it well, and everybody's shooting it well here tonight.
yeah, because they don't take bad ones. You know, there's Stowski. This is a good one. Here's Albrecht. Little shot fake there. Shot fake works pretty well for most people, and this is what this kid was brought to Ann Arbor to do. Zach Irvin hadn't been shooting it well late, but Zach Irvin's going to shoot it well when you get good looks. Mike, they just don't take bad looks. They find the next guys. You know, it's same thing with Wisconsin, right?
Right. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago.
Find the next guy.
They are first in the league in field goal percentage, first in the league in free throw percentage, and second in three-point shooting.
And they take up for each other pretty well. A really heady play by Zach Irvin, the freshman. He's going to shoot this one, too. Why not?
Thought about it, yeah. There for a second until Malcolm Hill got out on him.
I guarantee if he gets it back, he's not passing twice in one possession.
Morgan off the window. Michigan is shooting nearly 70% in this first half.
How good has Jordan Morgan been for this team? You know, once Mitch McGary went out, Morgan, look at
ooh, that was a read. Robinson flies to the rim. And John Gross going to take another timeout. And he specifically told his team today in shoot-around, twice last year, they turned those, as Tom Izzo likes to say, turnovers into touchdowns. You can't just look across and make that pass. And they did. That's why he wanted to stop it right there.
Mike, you don't look at the man, your man. You look at the defense. You don't throw it to the white shirt. You throw it away from the blue shirt. Tracy Abrams is throwing it to the white shirt. Well, guess what? There's a blue shirt that can make up ground in a hurry like a defensive back. And then the finish is spectacular.
They were quiet already. No need to add.
He went shush. He went, what was the guy, Woodbury?
Adam Woodbury?
Yeah,
from Iowa.
He shushed his own crowd after a dunk.
He did. That's right, he did.
You can't shush your own crowd. You can shush me.
Many do. 14-20.
I just put him right there for you, Don. I just put him right there for you.
It's almost like you know somebody in the softball world. You just serve up softballs here to me. Illinois shooting 47%, not all that bad. 3 turnovers here in 13 minutes, not all that bad. And they're down 19. Their defense, which has carried them in a 3-game win streak. Remember, this team that lost 8 in a row earlier this year. Then the lineup changed to bring the 2 freshmen to start. 21 and 25, Hill and Nunn. And a turnover from the top by Hill. Michigan trying to lock down the #1 seed. Win the first outright Big Ten title in 28 years. In great shape thus far. Chris, thank you. Chris hanging out with you here all night through the doubleheader. He mentioned Florida. Joe Lenardi's latest edition of bracketology of Arizona, Florida, Kansas, Wichita State on the 1 line for Selection Sunday coming up in a week and a half. And Syracuse, which has been on the 1 line for a while in Joe's bracketology, sliding over to the 2 with fellow ACC team Duke. Remember, Virginia's the regular season champ of that league. Villanova, and then Wisconsin, who we mentioned last week. If they run the table, you're going to hold their resume up on Selection Sunday and say, who has a better set of wins than Wisconsin? As they've had an outstanding year. Bo Ryan's team closes the regular season at home against Purdue Wednesday, and then Nebraska on Sunday night in Lincoln.
You know, it's going to be interesting, sticking here with the Big Ten. Wisconsin playing great. Michigan playing great. I mean, these are two teams that are, you know, you want end of the year, obviously, you want to play well. And these two teams are playing as well as anybody in the country right now.
Orford off the mark. Let's see if Illinois can find some offense. Again, they're 8 of 17 from the field. That's not that bad, but they have just been steamrolled. It's a 10-0 Michigan run in the last 2.5 minutes. The junior Tracy Abrams goes to the transfer. Revante Rice will shoot the three. Much needed. Much needed as Rice knocked that one down. Kid was 268 when he arrived in Champaign. Got that body fat down from about 13 to 6.
You know, that was pretty good move by John Gross.
Wow, Stauskas rattles in number three of this first half.
That may have been a soft for him, but that was a soft shot. You know, John Gross made a nice move last time. He posted up Derek Morgan with Malcolm Hill. Now he's going to go post up Rice, which is smart. You're struggling, get it inside.
Foul here on Michigan, their first of the game, and here's Allison.
Well, Mike, over on the Michigan bench, athletic trainers were working on Jordan Morgan. He has a bruised tailbone. They're trying to get him back in the game, but they're not sure if he'll be able to return just yet.
All right, Allison, thank you. You see he's closing in on Stu Douglas's career mark, and his senior day will be Saturday night in Ann Arbor. Nice stop on the dime by Nunn to knock it down. Morgan went from the floor over to the bike, try to get loose there.
Morgan is maybe the leader of this Michigan team. He's the guy that everybody looks up to, respects, treats everybody right.
Great catch, baseline finish by Robinson.
Mike, this is too easy. There's no pressure being applied. There's no oomph. There's no let's go from Illinois. They're just out here playing a basketball game. Michigan's out here competing for a championship, and Illinois is just out here playing a game.
Rice inside off the glass. And one chance for the three-point play as Revante Rice has picked up his play here in the last couple of moments. NBA coming up on Wednesday. Dallas against the Denver team that is struggling mightily. Same true of Atlanta. They'll be in Portland if you haven't had a chance to check out the Blazers. And LaMarcus Aldridge and Damian Lillard, good chance tomorrow night. NBA Wednesday doubleheader starts with countdown, 7:30 on the East.
Rice, that's the first time I've seen a real tough, move, right? I mean,
oh, I thought you were talking about the promo read. You mean the play by Rice?
The promo read was spectacular.
Okay.
And I can't wait to see Sage Steele and Coach Duck Collins and Bill Simmons and the rest.
But they're on Sunday, not Wednesday. But your point was?
Well, my point was that Illinois is just playing. Rice made the basket, and he got angry. He got fired up. I mean, that's the first time I've seen that look. And you can't play Big Ten games without that look.
Both Michigan fouls by Levert, so he's on the bench with 2. Zach Irvin plays in his stead. Wanted it called out of bounds off Michigan. Ted Valentine disagreed on the sideline. Abrams back the other way.
I'd go right back to Rice and drive it again.
Travel at the top. I mentioned Ted Valentine working the game here today. Worked the game on Sunday after the incident Saturday with Mick Cronin from Cincinnati, as he went back and challenged him. Seth Davis, our friend from Sports Illustrated, always does a great job with his coverage of college hoops. Seth getting a quote from Ted Valentine on the phone Sunday. And to Ted's credit, he said about that incident, I would quote, I was just totally wrong. I was out of place by walking into his space. One of those situations where I got caught up in the moment. Good for Ted to have admitted that. He continued, if it had been 15, 16 years ago, would have never caught myself like that. Irvin the three, and the threes continue to rain down for Michigan.
Well, I was hard on Ted, and I will continue to be, because I think Ted makes the game about himself. But I will say this, I thought Ted Valentine, I commend him for saying I was wrong. You know, too often, referees never say they're wrong. He was wrong, and it's good for him to admit it. It's good for him to acknowledge it to the head of officials in the AAC.
Timeout under 4. Wolverines +20. All right, Chris, we'll see you then. Thank you, sir. Georgetown had a big non-conference win over Michigan State that will help them on Selection Sunday if they can keep rolling. Michigan's numbers: 9 long balls, 17 of 25 from the field. 7 different players have scored, and that's why Dan Dockich, they're up 20 here at the under 4 timeout.
And I don't think that Illinois, and John Gross is all over his team in the last huddle, they haven't had much fight on the defensive end. It's like 4 straight games they've held an opponent under 50.
That's a huge step.
It's huge.
I mean, people, it's hard to grasp.
At Michigan State, they held Michigan State under 50. And it's like they've forgotten all about that in this game. Instead of, Mike, here's a frustration for coach. It should be like we should have a real pride in that number.
And coming home against a team that's trying to celebrate on our floor here tonight. Would you in that timeout have set a little landmark for them? Can we get it to 12 here before the half?
Well, the first thing you want to do.
Ooh, that's deep from Rice.
He should just drive it. Nobody can keep it. Nobody can keep Rivante Rice in front of him. That's just settling. Yeah, you got to do, hey, look, let's just play our best 4 minutes of basketball. No turnovers, good shots, take it to the rim, get fouled.
Stauskas is playing great. Fouled by Kendrick Nunn, the freshman, as Robinson would not be allowed to dunk it on him there.
That is a staple. When Stauskas dribbles it at Robinson, there's going to be an automatic back cut. We've seen it all year long. Man-to-man or zone, doesn't matter. And you know what? Stauskas is a surprisingly good passer. People talk about him, you know, shooting the basketball. He passes really, really well. He's like 81 to 53 assist to turnovers. It's pretty good for a kid that's asked to score and shoot as much as he does.
Robinson gets both. The lead is 22. And Mike LaTulip, who's only played 5 minutes in 2 Big Ten games this year, the sophomore walk-on at Arlington Heights, going to come in the game here for Illinois.
Well, that tells you the level of disgust right now that John Beilein, not to take anything away from the kid. John Gross, I'm sorry. John Beilein pretty happy right now. But boy, Zach Irvin does a nice job of getting over and helping.
John Eakey put it on the deck, past Irvin, and scores. Eakey, senior night as well, graduate student from Independence, Missouri. Played at Illinois State for 3 years and 1 year left. And that rule, which Illinois has used the last couple of years, have a player come in for that one last season of eligibility. Eakey taking advantage in their master's program for recreation, sport, and tourism. Back cut Stauskas. Found Irvin, couldn't catch it, and it's turned over. So Michigan will close the regular season at Chrysler Center against Indiana, and the Hoosiers trying to build some momentum down the stretch. That'll be a Saturday night game on ESPN before Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. And part 2, Carolina Duke, this one at Cameron. That's Saturday on ESPN with game day getting you going at 11 a.m. Eastern time as championship week gets underway. Nunn, nice job by the back-to-back freshman of the week in the conference. He now has 11.
Dynamite. Absolute dynamite this kid is. He's explosive. He gets in the lane. He's competitive. He's well coached. Going to be a star. He already is a star in this league, Kendrick Nunn.
Saw that perspective on this offensive first half for Michigan and the poor defense this half by Illinois. Last 4 opponents under 50. And Michigan sitting on 46. LaTulip, the walk-on out there helping the defense. Well, no. Illinois tries to put a score-stop-score together. And Rice will try to do it at the line.
You're right. He did, LaTulip, he did help the defense. He's at least given energy. And the last 2 possessions that he's been in the game, Michigan's been uncomfortable. It's the first 2 possessions where Michigan has been sped up. Mike, the goal of defense is to speed up the offense. What happens then is good-looking shots aren't good shots because you're sped up. You're surprised to get them. And it's only the last 2 possessions has Illinois sped up even a little bit Michigan's offense.
Double D, you know what I love? Mike LaTulip last played at Wisconsin January 8th. He got hurt, and he hasn't played the rest of the conference season. Other than the first 2 games against Alabama State and Jacksonville State, he hasn't played for 4 minutes in a game. And John Gross looked down and goes, "Hey, look, and he's like, I get the play." And he came in and he impacted the game. And you love, these are the kids that are the foundation and the rocks of a good program, because they show up every day and turn in that effort.
Mike, Karis LeVert's like that. Last year, Karis LeVert was redshirted.
Trap, find, Robinson 3.
Ooh, what a pass. You know, how many guys in the post would have grinded it out and tried to get it in the air? He just threw it out to the shooter.
There's the drive by Ravonte Rice. Out of bounds and knocked away.
You know, to me, Karis LeVert, he committed to that guy right there. He committed to John Gross at Ohio. And then when Gross left and came here, LeVert went to play for him. He's the same kind of kid. Too skinny, too this, too that.
A lot's been made of that as the tulip goes out and gets a very nice hand for the fans. A lot's been made of LeVert, who was with Gross at Ohio, as you said, from a commitment standpoint. Then John got this shot. A lot of timing is involved in those situations. The air ball 3 by none. Like, who's in Illinois? Who's Gross inheriting? It's not like Karis LeVert was being recruited by a ton of people.
No.
And nobody was saying, man, why didn't John Gross try to go out and re-recruit him to Illinois last year when the season started and people thought LeVert was going to redshirt?
He did redshirt. And then Vogrich and Esso had problems in the North Carolina State game, and they brought him off the redshirt.
Right, exactly.
So those are the kind of guy. And you talk to people around Michigan, who's the hardest guy to guard one-on-one? LeVert.
Up 19, here is LeVert in this well-produced game as we look at tonight's competitive edge, brought to you by Principal Financial Group. LeVert and Stauskas, 30.5 points for Michigan, and
even a better produced game.
You stop it. You mentioned the growth of the individual players, and every team works on individual skills. And when I talked to John Gross about John Beilein and the Michigan team, he said, look at their players. They're skilled, they're solid, their fundamentals are strong. It's like a given at the college level, but he does such a good job with it.
And they like each other. Like that play right there by Horford.
Right.
How many guys would have, like, guy would have wanted to score. I'm in great position. Let me go score. Instead, Horford knew where his player was, which is a real strength of John Beilein. He puts guys in spots, and everybody knows where they're at. Horford just got it, didn't have anything, kicked it out without an ego, and there you go, knock it in.
They're in their spots.
They're in their spots. That's right. That's exactly right. They're in their spots.
My years with Hubie Brown, he's taught me every player has 3 spots on the floor where he's a better shooter. It's up to the coaching staff to know those spots and put those guys in those places. And they do it all the time.
That's why you slum it when you work with me.
On the Illinois end, fouls to give here.
All right, let's talk about that. Kobe Bryant's spot is right, the right elbow. Like, he'll dribble like crazy to get to the elbow, right?
Yeah.
In that area,
Yes, exactly. I know what you're saying.
And that's, I'm telling you, John Beilein puts guys, as you said, in their spots. You're going to see Irvin shoot the ball from the wings.
More fouls to give. We'll see if they continue to yield them here.
I would assume they can't get a shot up because there's going to be a foul here in 3 or 4 seconds.
Icky defending, and he gets Walton. That's the 5th team foul in Illinois with 7.5 to go.
I wonder if college, if you can have 3 spots.
Well, some, a good player might, some might not.
Yeah.
Some might not be ready.
Right. Like, I think Irvin would have 3 spots, terrific shooter. I think Robinson would probably, Stauskas. I don't know that everybody else in college is a 3-point shooter would shoot from the top of the key. That would almost be an automatic spot.
Malcolm Hill, Maverick Morgan, foul free coming the game. To add their fouling ability here. Abrams in the backcourt now, 5 seconds. And he fouls Walton, so it's side out Michigan for the 3rd time. This has been a very scintillating portion of the game. No more fouls, 4.3 to go, at least not intentionally.
I'm thinking this ball may come back to Stauskas here. Something to Horford, spread it out. Look at Stauskas maybe getting it back.
USA, the Canadian Stauskas. Final seconds, Walton. Stauskas, a 3. Oh, Canada.
Oh, my.
Did I say the M&M look? He just kind of strutted. And all those who were chanting USA sat down quickly as It's the man from north of the border, from deep behind the line.
And look where he goes, Mike. He knows it's in.
Here's Allison.
Coach Beeline, Illinois has held their last 4 opponents to under 50 in a game. How have you managed to put up 52 in the half?
We've made some tough shots. The end of the first half looks a little bit of the way we played the whole time. The guys have had good looks, but they've made the shots, even when Illinois guys were there. So very fortunate this first half to play that well offensively.
Certainly in a rhythm early. Jordan Morgan, though, apparently suffered some sort of injury. What's the latest on him?
Well, you know, he got hit trying to take a charge and went down pretty hard. So he's got some little bit of issues in his back. We'll work it out right now, see if we get him back in there.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Allison, 4 fouls, 3 turnovers, and 68% from the field. What a half for Michigan. 52-30, they lead Illinois here at the break. Chris Cotter time, Mazda halftime report. Michigan Wolverines 20 minutes away from their first outright Big Ten title since 1986, dominating Illinois, 22-point lead. And we joked with Mike Tirico, Dan Dockage, Allison Williams in the second. We joked off the air last week. Coaches say, well, sometimes you just make shots. Michigan made everything they looked at in that first half, Dan.
Have you ever seen a team go 11 for 14 and a half? I have not. Not in the first half. Maybe late you see some guys throw a bunch in. It was the most impressive offensive showing we've seen all year, Mike, because, look, Illinois has held its last 4 opponents under 50, and they've done it with really tough, aggressive, I'm going to get into your defense. We haven't seen it at all today, but we've seen Michigan lift up and make shots.
All right, here's Allison.
Well, where were the breakdowns defensively for Illinois in that first half? According to head coach John Gross, all over. But he did give credit to Michigan, as you guys said, going 11 for 14 from 3-point range. Pretty impressive. He said that is a recipe for disaster. But defensively, we tried everything. We threw it all at them, everything but the kitchen sink, and nothing seemed to work. Hoping they can find something that's effective in that second half. And as far as keeping his team spirits up, he told them you just have to take it 1 possession at a time. There's no such thing as a 22-point play.
Well, Allison, they were very positive despite the 8-game losing streak, as everybody tells us about their practices. The work ethic did not slack, and that helped them dig out as they've won their last 3 games. Victories at Minnesota, Nebraska, then at Michigan State on Saturday. Stauska's able to save it before it goes out of bounds. Jordan Morgan does not start the second half. It's John Horford. Stauska's on the miss. Back the other way comes Revante Rice. Good job by Levert to make the pass tough, and a foul underneath on the Wolverines. Let's check out those numbers from the first half. That dominant offensive performance we talked about. See their season numbers above those averages. Dan, those 8.2 threes made per game. That's 23rd in the nation. And they had 11 there in the first half.
Well, they didn't take any shots like they just took. And this is, you know, fans think the game's over. People watching think the game's over. I'll tell you who doesn't think the game's over, the coaching staff. And right now, John Beeline not real happy with the shot selection. Now, Levert has 3 fouls, so he's coming out. But not real happy with Stauska shooting a fadeaway. You didn't see any of that in the first half. You saw extra pass. You rarely see that with Michigan.
Malcolm Hill split the pair. It's 52-31.
And for John Gross, there's nothing he can draw up defensively. It's just a matter of toughness, being aggressive, and competing. I mean, you just come out to play in the Big Ten, you get walloped.
Zach Irvin came in for Michigan when Levert went out with that 3rd foul. Stauska's fouled by Rice. That's a really good call up top there by John Gaffney. You just cannot prevent a guy's movement. I know it doesn't look like it's a big deal.
No, that's a foul.
That's a good, solid call.
And that's a foul John Gross is going to like. John Gross told Rice to get up into him. And again, maybe you foul, but at least you're going to make the guy uncomfortable. First half. If I was his Orange Crush, I'd be a little careful taunting Stauskas.
It didn't work for them before.
No, I'd be a little careful.
Orange Crush, nickname for the student section. They do an outstanding job. Organized, planned, but they also raise a lot of money for good and worthy causes here in the area around Champaign. Walton, good hands by Abrams. Tracy takes it away and turned away by Robinson. Revante Rice. Long on the 3.
He's our guy, right?
Derek Walton Jr., rebounding fiend out there. Transition triple, Robinson though.
Glenn Robinson always misses short on his threes because he doesn't follow through and snap his wrist enough. He kind of soft throws it. He doesn't soft shoots. He doesn't snap.
Abrams right at the cup, couldn't finish. Walton brings it back the other way. Zach Irvin lifting and launching. Bunch of threes shot by Michigan. Some push on Abrams as he was battling with Horford. Horford in there because Morgan is hurt. What's up with Jordan? Allison?
Yeah, Mike, he played just 7 minutes in that first half before suffering from a bruised tailbone. And right now they're just trying to keep his back loose. You can see him on the bike there, trying to keep him warmed up. They did give some treatment to him at the half and really just monitoring how he feels. If it starts to feel better, they'll probably put him back in. But I think it's going to be a lot based on if they need him or not in this game.
Okay, Allison, thanks. It's Saturday senior day for Jordan Morgan, 5th-year senior. He was here at the shoot-around this morning and kind of looking around the State Farm Center here, and he said, man, last Big Ten road game of my career.
It goes fast for kids. You know, everything in life as you get older goes fast, though, but it's kind of a sad time for a lot of kids.
Yeah, kids around the country. Stauskas a 3, knocks it down again.
I don't know what else you do right now. Egwu, 6'11", hand was up. Maybe it was up a little bit late. But it's not like Stauskas is sitting there with his toes on the line.
The challenge by Morgan. He got all ball at the top of that as Rice drove in. And turned over. I think I said Morgan. I meant Horford. And turned over by Michigan. Here's that 3 by Stauskas.
Stauskas just sliding into position. Here's Egwu. Hands are down, though. Got to get your hands up right now. They've got to be up before he goes into a shooting motion.
Stauskas 5 of 6 on the threes. You saw Morgan there on the bike. Of course, Mitch McGary's back problem started the whole stretch of concern for Michigan back earlier in this season. Wild drive by Nunn, and he's able to draw the contact, the foul on Horford inside.
You know, Mitch McGary going out allowed Horford and Morgan to solidify their roles. They didn't have to look over their shoulder. And the thing about Morgan, I think he's, you know, one of 2 or 3 guys for Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten, and he's been a terrific leader. He talks to people all the time. He's kind of a big brother off the court, Jordan Morgan is, to a lot of the players, and just a mature kid who, whatever he does, he's going to be a success at. But once McGary went out, those 2 guys kind of, you know, figured it out for each other that, look, we don't have to worry about not playing. We're going to play, and let's go produce.
Horford the rebound. Morgan last year was short-circuited by an ankle injury that happened here. Pretty ugly-looking ankle injury, so he comes back into this building one more time and suffers an ankle injury. It's a young man who has his undergraduate degree in engineering and is working on his master's degree in engineering. And that's a heck of an engineering program at Michigan. So it's quite an academic accomplishment in addition to the on-the-court success for Morgan this year. But at 3, Walton has Egwu in his way, and he has to launch.
You see Egwu had his hands up the entire time. Now,
compared to that last possession.
Compared to the last possession, now, that should be automatic. I like the way Rice is playing. I don't like that shot because nobody can keep Rice in front of him. Mike, I haven't seen anybody keep Rice in front of him this entire Big Ten season. And to settle, you just can't do it.
A shot fake and a take by Stauskas, and the blocking foul is called on Illinois. A couple of free throws to Nick Stauskas on the other side. No field goals last 5.5 minutes for Illinois, dating back to the first half. Mike Tirico, Dan Dockett, Chalice and Williams with you here. Final Super Tuesday of the year. That means we're at awards time in the conference. Here's Mr. Dockett's All-Big Ten team, unveiled live on American TV.
Well, I think Gary Harris struggled a little bit, but he's been really solid. Roy Devin Marble, terrific. Penway, if you haven't seen him, you're going to see a great score. Frank Kaminsky, a little under the radar, but great late. And the player of the year to me is Nick Stauskas. Do you agree with Nick Stauskas, player of the year? Do you agree with who would you put on there?
I think so, from a consistency standpoint. I don't want to lose what Harris has done offensively and defensively with Michigan State, but I think Michigan has been a notch above everybody in the league. He's been the best player game in, game out.
He's been big in big games, too.
And when he got defended by people and became line 1 of the scouting report, although they always try to stop Robinson first, he's handle that? Remember, there was a little blip in the season for Stauskas. He's come back from that.
Indiana held him with Yogi Ferrell guarding him.
Right.
But then he adjusted to that. The thing was,
the
Mike,
Iowa game.
Yeah, Iowa did too. Mike, the thing about Stauskas is it used to be, remember 3 or 4 weeks ago, it was, well, guard him with a little guy.
Yes.
Well, he got rid of that when they tried to guard him with Apple in Michigan State. He just went over him, shot it in.
Now, let me ask you this. On your All-Big Ten team,
yeah,
would you consider Sam Decker over Kaminsky if you want to have Wisconsin represented? That's where I might go.
I think Decker's been good, but I think Kaminsky has been ridiculously good, including at Michigan when he had 25. Nobody's scoring in the game. These are the games that I look at, Mike. Late in the season, everybody scouted you. Who's coming on? And I think Kaminsky's been terrific. I'd put Gosser on there. I think Gosser, when it comes to winning time, been fantastic.
Here is Spike Albrecht, who checked into the game at the last time out. He and Walton have played together a bit. Now Walton's on the bench.
Who's your coach of the year?
Well, I'm not done with player of the year yet, or the All-Big Ten team. Speaking of not done, Stauskas, 6 threes, 21 for Nick.
Was it the music, the moment you want it, you better never.
You know, really, you singing Eminem, problem. It's a glue inside. Man, nothing's going here for Illinois. No Yogi Ferrell. Where would Indiana be? Indiana may end up a 500 team. Where would they be without Yogi? That's another question people might have. It's hard in a 12-team league to be.
How about Adrian Payne?
Yeah, the injury, I think, would be the reason, not the play or performance of Payne. Stauskas. They sent 2 out to react to the shot fake. Horford inside, couldn't finish. And on the push, here comes Nutt.
He's making my all-freshman team with a late run here. Again, Simeon High School, you mentioned it, Jabari Parker, Jalen Tate, who's playing here for Illinois.
This foul is on the pass on Illinois. You mentioned Jabari Parker, the high school teammate of none. Parker second in the ACC, nearly 19 a game. And Duke. At home at Cameron, the journey to the tourney game against North Carolina. Carolina going for the sweep. That's Saturday night, 9 Eastern here on ESPN. Of course, game day in the morning starts.
That game is look at Spike Albrecht. Doesn't like where
that's interesting. Yeah,
Egwood was. His feet were on the line, so he moved him back.
And Spike made that point, and it's a delay game warning there.
You know what that means? That Spike Albrecht is so comfortable, so smart, and so in tune with what's going on right now, regardless of the crowd, regardless of the circumstance. That's pretty good.
That was a 5 count and turned over.
He was in tune to everything but throwing it inbounds. Hey, he's their best inbound passer, but having the smallest guy inbound, it sometimes can be a little rough.
On the turnover, Illinois has it back.
The Big Ten basketball world, I'm sure, is shocked that I haven't put Aaron Kraft as player of the decade.
We were going there. Iki, good hustle to save it, keep it alive.
Hasn't played well offensively, and that's that help side, Mike.
Yeah,
being off your man, being in the lane, you're gonna make plays.
Rice trying to make the all-star pass, turned it over. First turnover of the half. Dan. That's Irvin, 3's off the mark.
You know what's selfish in basketball? People talk about shooting or over dribbling. You know what's really selfish in basketball?
Ooh.
That's a great move.
You are right. And in the NBA, that would be an N1. And Ted Valentine's going to say it'll be an N1 here as well.
I don't like that call. I love that call. John Beilein does not like that call. Illinois fans like it. I love it. I think he's on the way. And let's see when he is in his shooting mode. Right there, he's bumped, but he's already shooting.
And Valentine comes out to talk with Larry Sirotto, the other official, make sure that they were both on the same page to give it the N1. And they do.
I think it's a good call.
So this kid, opportunity for Rice.
This kid early in the season was an all Big Ten. He struggled with his shooting here of late, but he's going to be terrific. Look, Illinois getting beat today, getting pounded here. This is going to be a good basketball team. 3 kids sitting out that all can play. Young basketball team.
Michigan gives Horford a break, and with Morgan not playing because of the tailbone injury, Max Bielfeldt comes in, redshirt sophomore out of Peoria, whose grandparents made the significant donation to have the administration building built on campus here in Champaign.
Whole family went to Illinois.
Yeah, the Bielfeldt administration building's right out that back door behind us. At Rice, he looks like a running back the way he makes that first power dribble, that long, powerful step, and then just protects it like he ain't gonna fumble that ball.
And he looks like a running back in terms of his biceps and his triceps and everything else. Look, I think he's a little frustrated with his own offensive game, Rice. That's why you see a force or two. But, man, in the open court going to the rim, I'm not sure there's anybody better.
Bielfeldt, the foul. You see the 8 rebounds for Rice. He's third, Dan, in the conference games on defensive rebounds, 5.5.
Yeah, and there's two things with that. Number one, he's in great position to rebound. He's not hugging his man. Again, I was going to say, Mike, the most selfish thing you can do defensively in basketball is hug your own man. Hey, I got my man. That's not any good. You got to have your own man and help others, and both of these teams pretty good at that.
Lead is 20. Illinois extends a little bit of a defensive pressure here. They've scored the last 7 points. Down 22 at the break.
Well, this zone, Levert went in the middle, got an easy shot. And they'll run somebody, whether it's Robinson, Bielfeldt, or Levert, on a cut into the middle.
To Albrecht, clock at 10. Stauskas has scored their last 10 points. Levert's fouled shooting the 3. Hit on the arm by none.
Michigan has had 2 bad possessions in this entire game. Now, they got bailed out here. The first was first possession of the second half. Stauskas took a bad shot. And, Mike, that last one was a bad possession. Against the zone, the ball has to be swung. It never got swung. It never left the right side, top of the key, right side, top of the key. And the ball knows when you have a bad possession, it's just not going in.
It's the Rasheed Wallace ball don't lie.
Ball don't lie.
Yeah.
I hate to say this. I'm a lot older than Rasheed. And in Northwest Indiana, Andrean High School, Gary, Indiana, Maryville, Indiana, that was said when I was like 5 by the older guys. That's historical.
It's been around for a while. Rasheed made it a point to screaming at people. Bielfeldt fouled. Good call. Ted Valentine right in front of him as Bielfeldt discarded Rayvonte Rice. So Max has picked up 2 quick ones here. And he's going to come out.
Oh, jostling here. Bielfeldt.
He got bumped by Maverick Morgan, and his arms extended, made the call easy.
I cannot let him get through the game without saying he has the biggest calves in college basketball, arguably college basketball history. It has its own Twitter handle.
It does it really?
It does.
Do you follow?
No, it's...
You don't? Okay, I just want to know. Did you retweet Ellen's picture on Oscar night?
No, it shut down Twitter, but I did retweet our picture, so we're trying to break Ellen's record.
Did you tweet our picture during the game here? Well, I don't think we're going to break it. If we can get like 27, she got 2.7 million. Great hustle by Robinson. Levert, open floor, can't finish. Neither can Robinson, neither can Horford. Illinois 2-on-2. Rice. Good battle to get it back. 3 from Iki.
Okay, you missed, but that's how Illinois has to play, Mike. That was in a frenzy. Spike Albrecht flopped twice in 1 possession.
Watch 10 seconds. Watch 10 seconds. Just over. Ooh.
That's what you want. Take the ball to the rim. Don't settle. Hey, they got a great look. That's how Illinois played better, by playing that way.
Well, Michigan's 2 of 12 from the field in this half.
That's
not a good shot.
That came out of his hand right. I don't know if it's a bad shot, but he wasn't going to make it. It came out to the right.
Illinois getting it done on the defensive end as Michigan struggling a bit. They've missed their last 7 shots, but the Illini can't get an offensive flow going.
Throw it into Iki. Sorry,
Egwu.
There you go.
And the putback. Dropped in by Malcolm Hill. And it's under 20.
I like that kid, Hill. as he grows up into his body, very young coming to college.
He turned 18 on October 25th. He's so young, he looks younger than Spike Albrecht.
He does.
Facially, which is, I know he is, but Spike's the youngest looking player in the country.
Spike, the oldest young looking player in America.
That's right. That's good ball movement by Michigan. And Levert with the payoff triple.
Unbelievable. Spike Albrecht, when Michigan struggles and Spike Albrecht's in the game, he's the guy that makes the play for somebody else more times than not.
Now guarding Kendrick Nunn inside Egwu. Could not finish.
Well, that was what we showed on the skit, Mike. At the 12-minute mark, Stauskas just a little bit late. But just being there caused a miss.
Second best three-point shooting team in conference games, having their best three-point shooting night of the season. On what they hope is a championship night. Stauskas again. Nick Stauskas, 7 threes, 24 points.
You know, Mike, when you do NBA games and you see a guy have a night like this making threes, and then they show him on SportsCenter, I get amazed at how open guys are after like 3.
Icky could crash the glass, and he puts it in.
Like after 2, don't leave him. Like, don't leave him.
Well, LeBron kept drifting back to places he couldn't be guarded last night in his 61. Matter of fact, Stauskas, who's a huge fan of LeBron James, he knows more James trivia and watches LeBron highlights as much as anybody. He was talking about looking at the shot chart and how wide open, or how deep, I should say, James made some of those shots last night. The 61 against Charlotte. Icky quick hands. He dives. Ooh, Levert almost got his knee trapped underneath. Great hustle. Rice lost it going behind the back. And pitched it to Hill. You're right. Illinois is competing in this half. They are. Levert on the other end.
They are competing. Okay, you're getting beat. You can handle getting beat playing like this. But the first half with Illinois was, like I say, Mike, and people are probably tired of hearing it, but they were just playing while Michigan was competing.
Nick Stauskas made 6 3-pointers earlier this year against Houston Baptist. Tonight he's made 7, trying to close the title for the Wolverines. All right, Chris, it's an important game for Baylor, as you guys detailed at the half. Here, Michigan leading by 25 and 8-11 away from the outright Big Ten title. Trey Burke has been watching, and he continues to tweet. Big Ten Player of the Year, Stauskas in Trey Burke's mind, and Dan mentioned that earlier as well.
Well, Trey Burke was for Michigan absolutely great, and I think Michigan people have such respect for Trey Burke, but he's right. Stauskas is the Player of the Year in the Big Ten.
Sorry, Danny. Mike LaTulip has checked back in for Illinois. Guard who has not played much at all. Sophomore coming in. Transition triple. A foul as Walton shot it. This is the under 12 media timeout happening under 8. So we're backing up timeouts like planes over O'Hare on a Friday afternoon. Here's a little peek back. 1986 Michigan basketball team, last outright Big Ten champs. Bill Frieder as the coach. Mr. Dockett, you very familiar with this team.
That guy was great. Roy Tarpley was great. I'll never forget Roy Tarpley as a freshman. Skinny, couldn't really play. And that group really struggled. And then they grew together. Added Gary Grant, who was as tough a guard as the Big Ten has ever seen, and won a couple Big Ten titles.
Judge Antoine Jobert there. 3 first-round picks eventually in the NBA with Rice, Tarpley, and Grant. Remember, last year, Indiana won the outright Big Ten title. It was their first since '93. It was 20 years for an outright title. You know, we talk about this. In this league, it's because the conference postseason tournament came in so late. Of the major leagues in college basketball, the major conferences, the regular season title holds so much significance in the Big Ten. I think more than most of the other conferences. because it was late in getting to the postseason conference tournament.
I'll give you that. I don't know why it would. I mean, you know, coaching in the MAC, I remember when we won a title. It was the greatest night of my life as a coach, truthfully, winning the MAC title. So I hear people say that, and I...
Do you disagree?
I don't know that I know it's held in great reverence in the Big Ten.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine that in the ACC or anywhere else it isn't held the same way.
It's a big deal. I did the Big East for a bunch of years, and going to Syracuse, I grew up with Big East basketball and in New York City. That tournament in the Garden, that created almost more memories than winning the regular season.
Yeah.
And Greensboro, for years, those battles in the ACC
Well,
tournament.
if you remember, Mike, going way back, the ACC champion, the tournament champion is the one. That's a great look.
Great find, Walton inside to Horford for the punch, and the number is up to 30. Yeah, when it was one and done, the tournament was the winner.
You win the conference title, that doesn't matter. The tournament winner went to the NCAA tournament.
An incredible game 41 years ago. An NC State team, which may have been second or third best team in the country by the account of many, but they did not go to the tournament because they didn't win the postseason tournament. They go to the NCAAs. In any case, despite all that, the growth of the Big Ten tournament as it's gone to Chicago and Indianapolis has been fun. And it'll be great next week. We'll all be there Thursday and Friday. So there's a great vibe to that event still. I just think that over the years, the history of this conference is really
tied into the regular season.
Yeah, I agree. So.
No, I agree.
Did I convince you there?
Yeah, you did. You really did.
That's a home win right there. Here's Walton. Halfway down.
Particularly when I started thinking about the old ACC and who, you know, in 1974, Indiana and Michigan tied for the Big Ten title. So they came here to Assembly Hall, and played a playoff game, which Michigan won and went to the NCAA tournament because only one team went to the NCAA tournament.
Talk about a high-pressure, exciting game.
C.J. Kupek for Michigan was terrific.
Well, Michigan has been terrific throughout. Levert on the drive, largest deficit of the season for Illinois.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's.
All right, guys, thank you. Yeah, teams that were playing so well just a few weeks ago, Syracuse, Kentucky playing well, lost right now and really struggling mightily. We talked about the Big Ten tournament. We'll be in the Circle City in Indianapolis for the action. If it started today, here's what it would look like. Minnesota, Illinois in the 8-9. You want to look at the right column first off. Finish in the top 4 and get the bye, so you'd only play the 3 games. But you would think teams like Minnesota and Nebraska, still with enlarged hopes, are the teams who are going to have to do the most work there in Indianapolis. And there you see how the lineup would go as of right now. We'll be with you on Thursday night for the doubleheader. And then a very quick turnaround for the Friday afternoon action. And Michigan will lock down the #1 seed in the tournament with this victory here tonight.
Nobody playing better than Wisconsin, though. Man, Michigan is tonight. Don't get me wrong. Michigan's been terrific. But Wisconsin is back in form. This sets up for a terrific Big Ten tournament. And I tell you this, Indiana's playing well also. I mean, Ohio State came in and didn't play very well at all offensively. Terrible, but Indiana had something to do with that.
Indiana, Dan, 7-9. Usually a 9-9 in the league Indiana team would be a tournament team. Is inside. Maverick Morgan gets his first field goal, but because of the non-conference schedule we've talked about so often with Indiana, their RPI is so low at 77. They're really, even with a push here at the end, winning their last 4 games. If they win at home against Nebraska and then in Ann Arbor on Saturday, they'd still have to do significant work in Indianapolis.
And that shouldn't happen. You know, self-inflicted wounds should not happen here with a team like Indiana.
Levert tries to finish, and he is fouled by Rayvonte Rice.
You know, I'll give you an interesting schedule, Mike, that I thought was really bad until I looked at it, and that's Ohio State's. Like, I thought Ohio State played a bad non-conference schedule, and then I started looking. You know what? 18-win Bryant team. Now, I'm not saying Bryant's great, but they are an 18-win team. I mean, you know, things like that. South Dakota State's got 21 wins, leading their league in the Summit. You know, that's the kind of schedule you got to put yourself into, I think. They played Ohio University, a 19-win Ohio University team. I'm not saying this is a great schedule, but I'm saying if you're not going to go out and play people all over the place, these are the kind of people you've got to go and try to see Delaware won the CAA.
Well, that's why Ohio State's BPI is high. Their RPI is 25, their BPI is 16, and that's how you build those.
That's exactly right. You get teams like that, you know what, they go have great years. Pretty good move.
Morgan inside, can't finish, fouled by Walton. Come to the line with 4:38 to go. So Michigan here working on this big victory in the outright conference title. They're also looking at a potential couple of records here, although not sure if Stauskas will get back in. One shy of the three-point record they set earlier this year against Houston Baptist, and Stauskas 2 off the personal mark.
Well, it's one thing, again, with all due respect to Houston Baptist, an early season game at home, that's one thing. But in a game clinching, Big Ten clinching game to perform like this, man, oh man. And it's been right from the get-go, too.
Morgan from Springboro, Ohio, split the pair, 77-46.
You know, in your life, there are certain great days, right? When you get married, for some it's when you get divorced, for some it's you know, birth of kids.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna tell you something else.
Winning a conference championship.
Winning a road game is among them, but winning a conference championship is absolutely among them. That ranks with the greatest days of your life.
Oh my gosh. It's a sitcom. Honestly, in 2 weeks I'll have so much of my life back. Abrams misses inside. Maverick Morgan fighting in there, and a foul is called. Well, if Michigan had not scored in this half, they would still be up by 6. They had 52 in the first half.
Chris Cotter in studio. Baylor on the bubble, taking on Iowa State in transition. Brady Heslip, a pump fake and drain this 3. This gets a 7-point run started for the Bears. They've now extended their lead over Iowa State. Certainly a win at home against the ranked Cyclones would do wonders for Baylor's chances. Other teams on the bubble include Georgetown. They're in a close 7-point lead right now over Creighton. That win would do wonders for them as well. And Georgia Tech continues to lead Syracuse. About 3 minutes left to go there. Senior night at the Carrier Dome. James Young's been on fire for Kentucky of late, but Kentucky has not been. They've lost 2 in a row. They'll try and break their streak. Coming up here on ESPN in about 18 minutes time against Alabama. Mike, Dan, back to you.
All right, Chris, thanks. Senior night, and Kentucky has not had the same type of significance because all the freshmen have come in and out of the program, but it's a disappointing senior night for Joseph Bertrand, John Eakey here at Illinois, but also the managers. Adam Metzger, who's there, Rachel Sloot, Max Haverland, Mark Martindale. Those are the senior managers for Illinois. They were honored before the game as well. Those kids work 40, 50 hours a week. They're the essential people who make a program tick, doing everything for the staff, the players, and they are so important. And I salute all the managers, not just the Big Ten, but around the country. For many of them, their senior nights, those are kids who may want to get into coaching, administration in the athletic department, and they put in so much unheralded, unappreciated time to fans, but they do a great job, and we salute the 4 Illinois senior managers here in Champaign tonight.
Mike, I'm so glad that you said that, because that will mean a lot coming from you, obviously, when you would mention somebody. But going back to being a player, I live with managers. If you're going to hire somebody, if you have a job, hire a basketball manager. They will be your best employee. They will be your hardest worker. They will be guys that you will have lifetime relationships with, and they'll be your best hire ever. Every school, Ohio State, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, it doesn't matter. They're great guys. Never met a bad one.
Shot clock down at 5. Albrecht turns it over. It's 3-on-1 the other way. Tracy Abrams, sweet pass to Rice. I don't know if you can get a top 10 play when you get blown out, but if you can, Illinois just did.
Spike Albrecht with 2 turnovers. Yeah, he's had 3 all Big Ten season.
Number is 27 right now. Of course, this is now known as the State Farm Center Assembly Hall for many years. The biggest loss was to the 74 Wolverines. Illinois trying to avoid that happening here tonight. There's a get-back triple from Albrecht at the top. 16 threes ties a Michigan school record.
That is a get-back triple. That's like I'm getting back at myself, because 2 turnovers by Spike Albrecht just doesn't happen, and that's why you don't sulk.
2:13 left, and the subs will come in. That includes your son, Mr. Dockich, Andrew, and I will say 2 things here. One, you're going to have, because you were part of a Big Ten champion, You guys will be father and son who both won Big Ten championships. That's Andrew's mom.
Yep. Yeah,
Big smile for her. It's cool for her. And your son's going to be on the floor here when Michigan wins the outright Big Ten title, which is pretty darn awesome.
Yeah, really cool for him. No, don't screw up or I'll rip you, though. Will Teddy Valentine foul him out?
Out of the corner, LaTulip couldn't knock down the three. Beal felt the rebound for Michigan. And Brad Adloff also came in, the sophomore from Hinsdale, Illinois. He's back in his home state and getting a chance to play. And Sean Lonergan, the freshman from Fishers, Indiana. The walk-ons in for the Wolverines, 100 seconds away from the outright Big Ten title.
This is going up. Oh,
well, Bielfeldt passed it. Late clock. Lonergan tied up, and he's called for travel. And Derek Walton will come in, and Spike Albrecht will get a chance to come out for Michigan. You said it before, but championship team, rarely do people get a chance to be a part of it. And for those kids, we mentioned Trey Burke and his tweets, and in the NBA, Tim Hardaway Jr. and Mitch McGary's back injury, three key parts of the team that played on the Ultimate Night Championship Monday last year. Without those key parts, this young Michigan team will be the outright Big Ten champs.
It is such a testament to everybody sitting on that Michigan bench, everybody in the Michigan program, and I'm including managers, I'm including, academic staff. Look, Brad Stevens said it best to me one time. Everybody in the building has to be moving in the same direction. Well, at Michigan, everybody in the building is moving in the same direction.
With Tulip on the miss, Maverick Morgan inside is fouled with 44.5 here to go. Fouled by Andrew Dockich.
How about this? The kid going to the line, Maverick Morgan, probably stayed at our house 100 times. Coached him at AAU. Andrew was the point guard, and this kid was one of our centers. I think this kid Morgan's going to be a really good player in the league. It's just a matter of the game slowing down, him growing into feeling comfortable. I guarantee you, though, Andrew wasn't going to let him dunk on him. I mean, there's no way. They're too good of friends.
You see the specs on Maverick, Division I Player of the Year, is voted by the Ohio Basketball Coaches Association. Tough loss for Illinois. They've got good things coming in the future. This building, starting tomorrow, begins phase one of a three-phase, 2.5-year renovation that will have this place looking far different. We won't see it as much next year except for the color of the seats up at the top. But in 2 years, you're going to see a $165 million renovation of this place and a refurbished home for the Illini. Andrew, nice find inside. And Lonergan scores. So Sean Lonergan, 6 points now on the season.
You know how Lonergan got here? He was going to go to Indiana. He was a terrific high school player at Fisher. Spike Albrecht played with him in a pickup game. Recommended him to the coaches. Next thing you know, he's on Michigan's team.
Well, Michigan will take it to the front court, and Andrew Dockich will have it in his hands, dribble it out. And hail the Michigan champions outright of the Big Ten for the first time in 28 years. The Wolverines will be the #1 seed in the Big Ten tournament, and they close out the league with 1 game to play. They never trailed, led by 33, and led by double digits, final 28 minutes. Thank you for hanging with us every Super Tuesday. We'll see you for the Big Ten tournament next Thursday with Allison Williams, Bart Fox, Scott Johnson, the rest of our great group in the truck, and Dan Dockich, Mike Tirico. So long from Champaign, Michigan, outright champions of the Big Ten. Here's Chris back in the studio.